I am always walking on these shores, between the sand and the foam. The great wave will wash away my footprints, and the wind will carry off the foam. But the sea and the shore will remain forever. Once I filled my fist with mist. When I opened it, the mist had become a worm. I closed it again, and when I opened it, there was a bird. I closed it once more, and when I opened it, there was a man with a sad face looking upward. I closed it again, and when I opened it, there was only mist, but I heard a sweet melody. Until yesterday, I thought I was just an incomplete fragment in the circle of life. Now I know I am the whole circle, and the fragments of life revolve within me. People tell me, you and your world are but a grain of sand on the infinite shores of an infinite sea. In my dreams I tell them, I am the infinite sea, and all worlds are but grains of sand on my shore. I was silent only once when a man asked me, "Who are you?" God's first thought was an angel. God's first word was a man. We wandered, flew, and desired for thousands of years. The sea and the forest breeze gave us words long before that. How can we now speak of our ancient age with just yesterday's words? The Sphinx spoke only once and said, "A grain of sand is a desert, and a desert is a grain of sand," and then be silent again. I heard this, but I didn't understand. I lay in Egypt's soil for a long time, silent, unaware of the weather. Then the sun gave me birth. I rose and walked along the Nile. I sang with the day and dreamed with the night. Now the sun walks over me with 1,000 feet to make me sleep in the earth again. But look, the strange thing is, the same sun that created me cannot now undo me. I stand upright and walk steadily along the Nile's shore. Remembering is like meeting. Forgetting is like freedom. We measure time by the sun's revolutions or a small clock's ticking. Tell me, how can we meet at the same place and time? The distance between Earth and Sun in the sky is nothing to the one who looks through the Milky Way's window. Humanity is a river of light, flowing from forever to forever. Do the ghosts that dwell in the air not burn with human pain? When I was heading to the holy city, I met another traveller. I asked, "Is this the way to the holy city?" He said, "Follow me and you'll reach it in a day and a night." I followed him. Many days and nights passed, but the holy city never came, and I was surprised that he grew angry with me because he had shown me the wrong path. God, make me the prey of a lion, but never the hunter of a rabbit. The path to morning goes through the night. My house tells me, "Don't go, your past is here." The road says, "Come with me, I am your future." How can I doubt the justice of life when those who sleep in the skies have dreams no more beautiful than those who sleep on the earth? Strange, the desire to gain some joys is also my bane. 7 times I despised my soul. The first time, when I saw it being humble just to gain heights. The second, when it limped before those who were lame. The third, when it chose the easy over the hard. The fourth, when it sinned and consoled itself that others sinned too. The fifth, when it endured weakness and thought it was strength. The sixth, when it saw an ugly face and didn't realize it was one of its own. And the seventh, when it sang a song of praise and thought it was a virtue. I don't know the absolute truth, but I bow to my ignorance, and therein lies my honor and my reward. Between man's dreams and his achievements lies a space only his longing can reach. Paradise is behind that door, in the next room, but I've lost the key. Perhaps I just misplaced it. You are blind, and I am deaf and mute. So let's hold hands and understand. A man's worth lies not in what he achieves, but in what he longs to achieve. Some of us are like ink, some like paper. If some weren't black, others couldn't speak. If some weren't white, others couldn't see. Give me a task, and I'll give you a voice. Our mind is a sponge. Our heart is a river. Strange, most prefer to soak rather than flow. When you desire a joy you cannot name, or feel sad without reason, know that you are growing toward your greater self. When someone is lost in their dream, even their faint expression feels like wine. You drink wine to get drunk. I drink it to sober up from another intoxication. When my cup is empty, I accept its emptiness. But when it's half full, I resent its half emptiness. Another person's truth lies not in what they show you, but in what they don't. To understand them, don't listen to their words. Grasp what they leave unsaid. Half my words are useless, but I speak so the other half reaches you. Laughter is the arithmetic of understanding. My solitude was born when people praised my talkative flaws and condemned my silent virtues. When life finds no singer to voice its heart, it creates a thinker to speak its mind. Understand the truth always, but speak it only sometimes. What is real in us is silent. What is learned speaks. The voice of life within me cannot reach you. The let's talk so we don't feel alone. When two women talk, they say nothing. But when one woman speaks, she says all of life. The wave of words is always upon us, but our depth remains silent. Many thoughts are like window panes. We see truth through them, but they separate us from it. Let's play hide and seek today. If you hide in my heart, you'll be easy to find. But if you hide behind your shell, no one can find you. A woman can hide her face even with a smile. How beautiful is the sad heart that sings a joyful song with happy hearts. He who wants to understand a woman, unravel a genius, or solve a silent riddle, is the same man who wakes from a joyful dream to sit at breakfast. I want to walk with those who move, not stand still watching the procession. The debt to one who serves you cannot be repaid with gold alone. Give your heart, or serve them in return. We haven't wasted our lives. Haven't they built towers from our bones? Don't divide us. The poet's mind and the scorpion's tail rise from the same earth. Every dragon birthed the St. George within to slay it. A tree is a poem the earth writes to the sky. We cut it down to make paper for our emptiness. If you want to write, and only the wise know why, you need knowledge, art, and music, the music of words, the art of simplicity, and the magic of love for your readers. They dip their pens in our hearts, thinking it's inspiration. If a tree wrote its story, it would be like the story of a people. If I had to choose between the power to write poetry and the joy of unwritten poetry, I'd choose the joy. It's the better poem. But you and all my neighbors say I always choose wrong. Poetry isn't opinion. It flows from a bleeding wound or a smiling face. Words are immortal. Speak or write them, knowing they'll last forever. A poet is a king sitting on the ashes of his burned palace, trying to shape a vision from the embers. Poetry is joy, pain, wonder, and a touch of the dictionary. A poet seeks the mother of his heart's songs in vain. Once I told a poet, "We'll know your worth only when you're gone." He said, "Yes, death reveals everything. To know my worth, know that my heart holds more than I can say, and my longing holds more than I can grasp."
If you sing a song of beauty in the desert alone, you'll still have listeners. Poetry is the wisdom that enchants the heart. Wisdom is the poetry that sings in the mind. If we can enchant the heart and sing in the mind, we'll live in God's shadow. Inspiration always sings, it never explains.
We sing lullabies to our children so we can sleep. All our words are crumbs fallen from the mind's feast. Thinking always blocks poetry's path. The true singer sings our silence. How can you sing with a mouth full of food? How can your hand bless when it's full of gold? They say the nightingale pierces its heart with a thorn to sing of love. We are the same. How else could we sing? Genius is just a bird's song, softly arriving at spring's dawn. Even the most winged soul cannot escape the body's needs. A madman is a musician like us, just playing a slightly off-key instrument. The silent song in a mother's heart sings on her child's lips. No longing remains unfulfilled. I've never fully agreed with my other self. The truth lies somewhere between us. Your other self always pities you, but when it sorrows, all is well. The battle between soul and body exists only in the minds of those whose soul sleeps and whose body is out of tune. When you reach the heart of life, you'll see beauty in everything, even in eyes that cannot see beauty. We live only to find beauty. All else is waiting. Plant a seed and the earth will yield a flower. Tell your dream to the sky and it will bring you your love. The devil died the day you were born. You no longer need to go through hell to meet an angel. Many women borrow a man's heart, but few can own it. If you want to possess, don't claim. When a man's hand touches a woman's, both touch the heart of eternity. Love is a veil between two lovers. Every man loves two women, one born of his imagination, the other yet to be born. A man who doesn't forgive a woman's small faults will never see her great virtues. Love that isn't renewed daily becomes habit, then slavery. Lovers embrace not each other but what lies between them. Love and doubt never speak to each other. Love is a word of light, written by a hand of light on a page of light. Friendship is always a sweet duty, never an opportunity. If you don't understand your friend in every condition, you'll never understand them. Your brightest clothes were woven by another. Your tastiest meal was eaten at another's home. Your most comfortable bed is in another's house. How can you separate yourself from others? Your mind and my heart can never agree unless your mind stops counting and my heart emerges from the mist. We'll understand each other only when we limit language to 7 words. My heart won't open until it breaks. Only great sorrow or great joy can reveal your truth. To show yourself, dance naked in the sun or carry your burden. If nature heeded our contentment, no river would reach the sea, no winter would turn to spring. If it heeded our thrift, how many of us would breathe this air? When you turn your back on the sun, you see only your shadow. You are free before the sun of day, the stars of night, and when neither sun nor stars shine, you are free when you close your eyes. But you are a slave to the one you love, because you love them, and to the one who loves you, because they love you. We are all beggars at the temple's gate, each taking a share of the king's bounty. We envy each other when entering or leaving the temple, which belittles the king. You cannot spend more than your hunger allows. The second piece of bread belongs to another, and a little bread must remain for the guest. Without a guest, every home becomes a grave. A shy sheep said to a sweet wolf, "Come to our home and honor us." The sheep replied, "We would if your home weren't inside your stomach." I stopped my guest at the door and said, "Don't wipe your feet coming in, but do so when you leave." A big heart gives me what it needs more than I do. You are truly a giver when you give without showing your face, so the receiver's shame is unseen. The difference between the richest and the poorest is just 1 day's hunger and 1 hour's thirst. We often borrow from tomorrow to pay yesterday's debts. Angels and devils visit me, but I drive them away. If an angel comes, I recite an old prayer and it gets bored. If a devil comes, I commit an old sin and it leaves. This prison isn't bad, but I dislike the wall between my cell and another's. Yet I don't curse the warden or the builder. He who gives you a snake when you ask for fish may only have snakes, yet his heart is great. Cunning sometimes succeeds, but always destroys itself. You are truly forgiving when you forgive a murderer who never killed, a thief who never stole, a liar who never lied. He who places a finger between good and evil can touch the hem of God's robe. If your heart is a volcano, how can you hold flowers in your hand? It's a strange habit. Sometimes I want to be wronged or cheated so I can laugh at those who think I don't know. What can I say about one who chases while pretending to flee? Give your cloth to the one who wipes their dirty hands on it. They may need it again, but you won't. Those who deal in money can never be good gardeners. How sad. Don't hide your real mistakes with learned virtues. I want my mistakes because they're like me. How often I've taken blame for crimes I didn't commit, just so the other one feels at ease. Life's face is the face of a deep secret. You can only understand others when you understand yourself. Now tell me, who among us is guilty and who is innocent? True justice comes from those who take half your faults as their own. Only a fool or a genius breaks man's laws, and they are closest to God. You run fastest when pursued. I have no enemies, O God, but if I do, let their strength equal mine, so only truth prevails. When you both die, you'll become great friends with your enemy. Perhaps a man takes his own life in self-defense. Long ago, a man was crucified for loving too much and being too loved. Strange, yesterday I met him thrice. First, telling a policeman not to jail a prostitute. Second, drinking alone in a tavern. Third, fighting a promoter in a church. If all about good and evil is true, my life is just one long crime. Kindness is half of justice. Only he whose brother I wronged wrongs me. When you see a man go to prison, think, perhaps he's escaping a smaller jail. When you see a drunkard, think, perhaps he's fleeing something worse. I've often hated for my own safety. If I were stronger, I wouldn't need such a thing. How foolish is he who hides the hatred in his eyes with a smile on his lips. Only those below me can envy or hate me. I've never been envied or hated. I'm not above anyone. Only those above me can praise or belittle me. I've never been praised or belittled. I'm not below anyone. When you say I don't understand you, it's a greater compliment than I deserve, and an insult you don't deserve. How small I am when life gives me gold and I give you silver, yet think myself generous. When you reach the heart of life, you'll find you're neither above a thief nor below a prophet. Strange, you pity the slow walker but not the slow thinker, and help the blind but not the heart blind. Wisdom is when the lame don't break their crutch on an enemy's head. How blind is he who gives from his pocket to take from your heart. Life is a procession. The slow say it's too fast and fall behind. The fast say it's too slow and step aside. If sin exists, some sin in their ancestors' footsteps. Others force sin upon their children. The truly good stand with those called evil. We are all imprisoned. Some cells have windows, some. If we confessed our sins to each other, we'd laugh at the imitation. If we showed our virtues, we'd laugh for the same reason. A man is above human law until he breaks human custom. Then he's neither above nor below. Government is an agreement between you and me, and we're often both wrong. Crime is either needs alias or a disease's symptom. Seeing another's faults is the greatest fault. If another laughs at you, you can pity them. But if you laugh at another, you can never forgive yourself. If another hurts you, you can forget. If you hurt another, you'll always remember. The other is your gentlest self in a different body. How careless you are, wanting others to fly with your wings while giving none. Once a man sat with me, ate my bread, drank my wine, and left laughing. He returned asking for more. I refused, and the angels laughed at me. Hatred is a dead thing. Who would choose to be its tomb? The murdered is honoured for not being the murderer. Humanity's true home is in its silent heart, not its speaking mind. They call me mad because I won't sell my days for gold, and I call them mad because they think my days have a price. They spread their gold, silver, ivory and ebony before us. We spread our heart and soul before them. Yet they call themselves masters and us guests. I'd rather be the smallest among those with dreams and the will to fulfill them than the greatest with no dreams or desires. The most pitiful is he who turns his dreams into gold and silver. We all climb toward the summit of our heart's desire. If another steals your bag or wealth while climbing and grows heavy, pity them. The climb will be harder, the path longer. Help them and you'll climb faster. You cannot understand another more than you know them, and your knowledge is so small. I don't want to hear a victor's advice to the vanquished. The truly free bear the slave's burden with patience. 1,000 years ago, my neighbour said he hated life because it's only sorrow. Yesterday I passed a graveyard and saw life dancing on his grave. Nature's strife is just restlessness seeking peace. Solitude is a silent storm that breaks our dead branches, but roots our living ones deeper. Once I spoke to a small river about the sea. It thought me a dreamer. I spoke to the sea about the river. It thought me a slanderer. How small is the mind that values an ant's work above a straw, but belittles a locust's song. The greatest good here may be the smallest elsewhere. What is very deep or very high takes a straight path to its depth or height. Only the vast can circle. If we stop measuring, we'd see a firefly as we see the sun. A scientist without imagination is a butcher with a dull knife and old scales. But what do you want? Not everyone's a vegetarian. When you sing, the hungry hear you with their stomachs. Death is as close to the old as to the newborn. So is life. If you want to speak clearly, speak with love or stay silent, for a man is dying nearby. Thoughtful, perhaps humanity's final journey is a wedding feast for angels. Truth that forgets itself can die, leaving 7,000 truths and tales for its funeral and tomb. We only talk to ourselves, sometimes so loudly others hear. What's plain to all isn't seen until someone says it simply. If the Milky Way weren't within me, how could I see or know it? If I'm not a doctor among doctors, they won't believe I'm a stargazer. To the sea, a pearl may mean a shell. To time, a diamond may mean coal. Fame is the shadow of passion standing in light. A root is a flower that scorns fame. Before beauty, there's neither religion nor science. Every great man I've seen had something small that saved him from ruin, madness, or suicide. The truly great neither rule nor submit to rule. I don't believe a man is worthless just because he kills a criminal or a prophet. Tolerance is love sick with pride. Insects turn over, but strangely, elephants sometimes yield the path. Sometimes a quarrel is the shortest path between two minds. I am the fire, the dry bush. One part burns the other. We all strive the holy mountain's peak. Wouldn't our path be shorter if we saw the past as a map, not a master? Understanding ceases to be understanding when it's too proud to cry, too heavy to laugh, or too selfish to seek beyond itself. If I filled myself with all your words, where would there be room for the words you don't know? I learned silence from the talkative, patience from the impatient, and kindness from the unkind. Yet strangely, I don't thank these teachers. A biased man speaks like stone leaves. The silence of the envious is loud. When you reach the place where you should know everything, you begin to feel what you should know. Exaggeration is truth that's lost its patience. If you can only see what light reveals and hear what sound proclaims, you neither see nor hear. True equality has no gender. You cannot laugh together and slander another at the same time. The king closest to my heart has no kingdom. The poorest man knows not how to beg. A shy defeat is better than a shameless victory. Dig anywhere in the earth with a farmer's faith and you'll find treasure. A fox, chased by 20 horses and 20 hounds, said, "They'll kill me, but how poor and foolish they are." Imagine 20 foxes on horses with 20 wolves chasing a man. What fun that would be. The mind within us follows our laws, but the soul never does. I am a traveller, a player, finding a new place in my soul each day. A woman said it was a just war. My son died in it. I told life I wanted to hear of death, and life said, now you hear it. When you unravel all life's secrets, you crave death for its one more secret. Birth and death are the greatest acts of courage. My friend, You and I will remain strangers to life, to each other, and to ourselves, until the day you speak, I listen, and hear your voice as my own, standing before you as if before a mirror. They say, know yourself and you'll know all. I say, seek all and you'll know yourself. There are two kinds of people, one awake in darkness, one asleep in light. A sage abandons the world of fragments to embrace the whole world without hindrance. Between the scholar and the poet lies a green field. If the scholar crosses it, he becomes wise. If the poet crosses it, he becomes a prophet. Yesterday evening I saw philosophers in the market, carrying their heads in baskets, shouting knowledge for sale. Poor philosophers selling their heads to feed their hearts. A philosopher told a street sweeper, I pity your hard, dirty work. The sweeper said, thank you, sir, but what's your work? The philosopher said, I study man's mind, actions and desires. The sweeper sweeping, saying, I pity you, sir.
He who hears the truth is no less than he who speaks it. No man can draw a line between need and luxury. Only angels can, and angels are wise and sad.
Perhaps angels are our better thoughts in the sky.
The true king finds his throne in a beggar's heart.
Generosity is giving more than you can, but my pride is taking less than you need.
You're not indebted to one man, but to all men. Those who lived before us are still with us. None of us can be a bad guest. He who desires the most lives the longest. They say a bird in hand is worth 10 in the bush. I say, one bird in the bush and one feather in hand are worth more than 10 birds. The search for that feather is life. Not the winged life, but life itself. There are only two things, beauty and truth. Beauty is in lovers' hearts, truth in farmers' hands. Great beauty captivates me, but greater beauty sets me free. Beauty shines most in the heart that longs for it, not in the eyes that see it. I love those who show me their thoughts, and honor those who reveal their dreams. But I feel shy and strange before those who serve me. Once, skilled hands took pride in serving kings. Now they find honor in serving the poor. Angels know the clever live off the dreamer's toil. Laughter is often a mask. Remove it, and you'll find an angry genius or a cunning sage. The wise see me as wise. The foolish see me as foolish. I think both are right. Only those with a kingdom in their hearts can know the kingdom of ours. He who shares your joy but not your sorrow will lose one of heaven's 7 keys. Nirvana is leading your sheep to green pastures, putting your children to sleep, and writing your poem's final line. We choose our joys and sorrows before we feel them. Sadness is the wall between two gardens. When your joy or sorrow grows too great, the world feels small. Desire is half of life, indifference is half of death. The bitterest part of today's sorrow is the memory of yesterday's joy. They say, choose this world's joy or the next world's peace. I say, I choose both, this world's joy and the next peace. For my heart says the greatest poet wrote one poem that holds both truth and opinion. Faith is a dew in the heart, where thinking caravans never reach. When you reach your peak, you desire only desire itself. Hunger only hunger. Thirst only greater thirst. If you tell your secret to the wind, don't blame it for telling the trees. Spring's flowers are winter's dreams, told at the angel's breakfast table. A skunk told a tuberose, see how fast I run. You can't even walk. The tuberose said, oh great runner, run fast. A turtle can tell more about the path than a rabbit. Strange, spineless creatures have the hardest shells. He who speaks most is least wise. There's no difference between a speaker and a peddler. Be glad you don't inherit your... A juggler is charming only when he drops the ball. The envious man sometimes praises unknowingly. You are a dream in your mother's dream before she woke and gave you birth. The seed of your race lies in your mother's longing. My parents wanted a child and birthed me. I wanted parents and firmed night and sea. Some children are our redemption, some our regret. When night comes and you're dark, lie quietly and become the darkness. When morning comes and you're still dark, stand and tell the day, I am still dark.
Playing games with night and day is foolish, they'll laugh at you. A fog-hidden mountain is still a mountain, not a hill. A rain-soaked oak isn't a weeping willow. Strange. The deepest and highest are closer to each other than the middle is to either. When I held a clear mirror before you, you saw your reflection and said, "I love you," but you loved yourself through me. Loving your neighbor for pleasure ceases to be noble. Love that isn't renewed daily dies slowly. You cannot have youth and its wisdom at once. Youth is busy living, with no time to understand. The wise are busy understanding, with no time to live.
You look out your window, watching people pass. You see a nun and a prostitute, and think one is good, the other bad. But close your eyes and listen. One seeks me in prayer, the other in pain, and both have room for my soul. Every 100 years, Jesus of Nazareth and the Christians' Jesus meet in Lebanon's hillside garden. They talk long, and each time Nazareth's Jesus says, "Friend, I think we'll never be one." God feeds even those who have too much. A great man has two hearts, one bleeds, the other endures. If someone lies without harming you or another, their truth's house was too small for their great mind, so they stepped outside. Every locked door hides a secret with 7 locks. Waiting is the gate of time's horses. Your sorrow may be a new window in your home's eastern wall. You can forget those you laughed with, but never those you cried with. There's something strangely holy in salt. It's in our tears and in a sea. God's thirst is so great, it will drink us all, even his own tearful drop. You are but a fragment of your greater self, a mouth begging bread, a blind hand holding a cup for a thirsty mouth. Rise above your race and nation, and you'll be like God. If I were you, I wouldn't curse the sea from a tight ship. The ship is fine, the captain's skilled, only your stomach is upset. From a cloud you'd see no borders between nations or fields. Alas, you cannot sit on a cloud. 700 years ago, 7 white doves flew from a deep valley toward a snow-capped peak. One of 7 men saw a black spot on the 7th dove's wing. Today, Nut Valley's people say 7 black doves flew to the peak. In autumn, I buried my sorrows in my garden. When April returned with spring, flowers grew unlike any others. My neighbors came to see them and asked for seeds to plant in their gardens next autumn. If I approach empty-handed and find nothing, I grieve. If I approach with full hands and find no taker, I despair. I want to live forever, for there I'll find my unwritten poem and unmade pictures. Art is a step from nature toward eternity. A work of art is mist turned to form. The hands that weave a crown of thorns are better than those that weave nothing. Our holiest tears never reach our eyes. Every man, king, and slave descends from someone who once lived. If Jesus' ancestor knew what lay within him, wouldn't he be amazed? Was Judas' mother's love for him less than Mary's for Jesus? Our brother Jesus had 3 unwritten miracles. He was a man like us. He had humor, and he knew he was a victor despite defeat. Crucified on my heart, the nails that pierced your hands pierced my heart's wall. Tomorrow, a stranger passing Golgotha won't know 2 bled here, thinking it was 1. You've heard of the holy mountain, the highest in our world. Reach its peak, and your only desire will be to descend and live with those in the deepest valley.